Well, welcome to the last Talkin' Sci-Fi for January. Matt Miller with you at Trekzone HQ. It is, of course, a Trekzone conversation coming up today. It's all about the Mandalorian's second season. How awesome is it to be in the Star Wars universe, as well as Star Trek, as well as Doctor Who? So much happening for us nerds at the moment. Lee Sargent is going to chat Mandalorian right after this.
Beaming around the world for over 500 episodes. Now on Facebook Watch, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. This is a Trekzone conversation.
And Lee Sargent, a very happy new year to you, my friend. Welcome back to Trekzone.
Happy New Year to you, sir.
It's been a little while since we've last had a chat. We've been doing the Star Trek thing for a while. I thought I'd bring you on to chat Star Wars because it's just exploding at the moment. It's an awesome time to be a Star Wars fan, especially at the moment.
I think it's an awesome time to be a Star Wars TV fan. I feel that they've really pivoted to a new direction for that franchise, and it's exciting, and it's really exciting to be a part of it. To kind of having watched kind of Mandalorian season 1, going, okay, I'm excited by new science fiction, just a new science fiction show. And I was, Star Wars is fine. Like, I don't mind Star Wars. I'm not a Star Wars kind of, I don't even know does Star Wars have like a fan name? Is there I don't know if there's some sort of like Trekkies have got, Star Trek has got Trekkies and Whovians for Doctor Who. I don't know what Star Wars has, but at any rate, I wasn't one of them, so it doesn't really matter. I enjoyed them. I grew up with the original trilogy. I went and saw. I didn't stand in line to see Phantom Menace. I feel vindicated somewhat in that. I didn't stand in line to see Phantom Menace, but I did see it and I was excited by it. And then it was a big long movie about trade negotiations. So that was everything I was dreaming for. And I saw all of them, kind of the movies, and kind of liked them all. And it was, but it was always as a bit of a not kind of not too caught up in it. The Mandalorian came out and I had to watch it separately from my wife. And I said, are you going to watch this Mandalorian show? She says, I'm not watching some Star Wars crap. And I said, yeah, but I've heard really good things about it. Like it's coming, it's going to be, it looks really cool. And I watched the first episode and I kind of said to her, you have to watch this. You're gonna enjoy it. And she's like, oh, because she's not into Star Wars or Star Trek or any science fiction really. She likes a good story. That's all she likes. So Arrival, love that type of thing. When we saw that, we had no idea what it was about. So apart from the fact there was aliens coming to Earth, and so she's like, oh, fine, throw him a bone. We'll go see that at the cinema. And we watched it, and she's like, that is amazing. So anyway, I don't even know how I convinced her to watch it. I think she was feeling bad for me on my own up in Brisbane while she was in Tasmania, and so she watched it. So I guess we would chat about it afterwards, and she kind of came back. She goes, that was actually really, really good. And I said, yeah, it is really good. And so then she kind of watched all of it at the same time as that we were watching coming out, and it was just a revelation. Here we are, this standalone story was a good story and was well done, and it was clever and perfectly paced out. And so it was just this wonderful establishment of credentials, I think, of this can work. The first Star Wars TV show, we've never done a TV show before apart from animated kind of, droids, and I think Ewoks had a cartoon. And wow, they just knocked it out of the park. Yeah, there was an Ewoks show. Yeah, there was an Ewoks show. No conversation about how the Ewoks potentially ate all the stormtroopers, but that's neither here nor there. They were cute. So yeah, it was exciting. And so then once they kind of established their credentials, I was so excited for this season. Season 2, I just was really, really desperate to see where they went, and we didn't have to wait that long, which was cool. And wow, what a reward for waiting, though, because it was just, season 2 was fantastic. What did you think of season 2?
It really became appointment television, I think, even more so. And we're not going to dive into the comparisons with the other shows. Every show has its flaws we've talked about them here on Trekzone. You and I have talked about Discovery in the past. Larry Nemechek and I have talked about Discovery in the past as recently as last week. We wrapped up season 3. Rob McKnight, our resident Whovian, talking about Doctor Who as well. We're focusing on The Mandalorian today because I know there's going to be comments and replies and tweets and stuff about this episode, comparing it to the other stuff. So that's the dot point up there. But Mandalorian really became this appointment television, and where are they going next? And how are they getting here? And what are they going to do? And as we were talking about off air, Lee, just before we got recording, the guest stars that they dropped, these not even the guest stars, but the guest characters that they've dropped in.
The characters.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like season 1 was about Favreau and Filoni.
Yep.
Yes, that's right. Favreau and Filoni. I should really know his name because I've loved so much of his work. Like I'm a big animated Star Wars fan, which was again interesting because it was like knowing that he was involved with Mandalorian season 1. I was like, oh, okay, no, I'm completely okay with it because like I love Clone Wars, Rebels, Resistance. I felt that animated Star Wars was doing everything better than anything. Again, not to compare too much to anyone else, but I honestly think that that animated Star Wars was knocking it out of the park and just doing their franchise work really, really well. What I think is interesting though about Mandalorian season 1, and this is just more to get a base level, is that Mandalorian season 1 did better, not inside the franchise, but even outside the franchise. This is just a good story. If you removed Star Wars references to it and you made the Mandalorian not a Mandalorian, but just some, bounty hunter in a sci-fi universe, it would still be a really good series. It would be a fantastic series. If you made it Earth you made it a Western, it would have worked really, really well with that kind of level of kind of stuff. So it worked on all levels as far as I'm concerned. But the second season, again, it's this, they've established the fact that they can do it really well. And then second season, they've come back and said, okay, so now we're going to take this out for a ride because we've been handed the keys. We're on our open license. Let's just go for a drive. And, obviously spoiler alert straight off the bat. I mean, your lead up to the end of the show was literally Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't even shying away from, there's no shadow in the background hinting at Luke Skywalker or events took place adjacent to something's amazing's happening over there. I wonder, I see a man wearing a vest and a Wookiee running across. There was none of this kind of just sleight of hand that you usually get with this kind of crap where it's like, we'll give you the character, but we won't give you the character at the same time. We'll hint at it, or we can never have the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I guess. I don't know what happened in later seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so just everyone calm
down.
Were
there later seasons?
There were apparently, but I saw the first season. That was it. So it was like hints of, Thor was in the other room.
That's right.
Was he? Excellent. That type of thing. Whereas they just went, here's Luke Skywalker, enjoy.
Yes.
And by the way, the face technology has improved somewhat since Rogue One, so doubly enjoy. There you go, type of thing. And to have Mark Hamill involved is just extraordinarily respectful and extraordinarily heartwarming. And then also to have George Lucas involved was the right move as well, as far as I'm concerned. Like to bring him into the fold, whilst he's not actively involved in the episodes, there are like, here's Ahsoka, you co-created Ahsoka. Here she is in the flesh. You get to see her. You get to see the thing that you gave birth to become real and expand, and he gets to see characters like Boba Fett come back. To see all these kind of characters come out, it's just and handled very respectfully. Again, we didn't recast Boba Fett. We have the original kind of actor who, well, not the original actor, obviously, that he actually passed away just recently. But to have them kind of come in and actually be the proper actors it's fantastic. Like it's just this, it's messed up good, and everything about the show is just like, this is the same Star Wars universe that I grew up with. It's the same. Everything's, the banthas look right. The sand people look right. The all of that is just, and even to I really enjoyed that episode of well, when we first saw Boba Fett's armor, and we had the whole kind of the banthas and the I've forgotten their name, Tusken warriors. Those, dipping more into that was really, really interesting. And you're telling a cowboys and Indians story without the obvious kind of misrepresenting a people.
And we also got to see Bo-Katan as well, and a continuation of the
course,
Mandalorian storyline. Getting the original voice actress in Katie Sackhoff back, and continuing that along with the Darksaber, continuing all of those things from Filoni's animated works and bringing it into live action, and sort of setting up, and this is the best thing with it as well, Grogu, Baby Yoda, couldn't last for the whole run of the franchise, and they've obviously been given a bit of a license to continue on now. So Grogu's off to go learn with Luke Skywalker and hopefully not die by Kylo Ren's hand. So that's that over there now, and I'm guessing that the Mandalorian, the Din Djarin, is going to pivot, wielding that Darksaber. He's going to pivot to becoming the new Mandalorian leader, and maybe we're going back to Mandalore. This is huge. There's so many implications for Star Wars fans, but even as we've been talking about, even for people that just want to watch a good story, they don't necessarily need all of the baggage, in inverted commas, baggage of the Star Wars lore to understand what's going on, because they're actually telling it in a way that isn't smacking us in the face for those that know, but it's giving just enough for people to go, okay, that's what that is. And for everyone else that is deep into the lore going, oh my God, it's that. Yeah. It's incredible. No, it's incredible storytelling.
I think the balance is really, really there. We're not comparing, but I did think the Star Trek Kelvin Universe films also kind of balance that really, really well, in that someone who didn't know anything about Star Trek could watch them. Star Trek fans would argue that possibly did it too well, too far away. But I think, the references, particularly in Star Trek Beyond, to the green hand in space, stuff like that, it's an odd kind of line, and for a non-Star Trek person, it's like a giant green hand in space. Oh, that sounds weird. But for us, it's like, oh shit, yeah, we know who that is. That's so cool that exists. And I think the Mandalorian has done that so exceptionally well, in that, the Darksaber shows up and I'm like, holy crap, I know what the Darksaber is, and it's because I'm a massive fan of the cartoons. Oh wow, that's mind-blowingly good, and I know what shit's about to go down because of that. And then to kind of have that, the whole kind of it moving forward to a point where it can go in so many different directions at this stage. Like, it literally can go in any direction. They've given themselves a massive amount of freedom in the next step that they take. And I think that's always a clever idea when you're doing a show like this, is to get to that end point, tell a coherent story to that end point, and then give yourself the freedom to go in whatever direction your writer's room wants to kind of sit down and go, well, what are we going to do for season 3 now? Unless you're doing the Babylon 5, we know where we're going for the next 5 years, where I don't think that's the case here. I think they know that there's films set in the future, and they've so far stayed generally away from kind of massive implications about that, although obviously Luke Skywalker showing up ties everything in quite tightly. But I think that they've given themselves the freedom to go anywhere they want now. They could, and I agree, I think definitely he's now the leader of Mandalore, which is just messed up again. We've gone from this character who was an outcast, and in not even in the main Mandalore. He's in a cult of within Mandalore, which is even more amazing. He's in this subgroup of Mandalorians who refuse to remove their helmets, and the rest of Mandalores are like, no, take it off, it's fine. It's no drama.
It's the nudist colony.
Well, no, because I was saying, like, Sabine and Bo-Katan both, having removed their helmets in Rebels all the time, but being loyal Mandalorians, I was like, I'm not sure what's going on here. Okay, maybe they've retconned the Mandalorians to do this. Sure, I don't care. I mean, as I say, I come from the Star Trek universe where retconning kind of to adapt to new ways of telling stories. It's just you have to go numb to it and just go, yeah, okay. So I wasn't concerned by that. And then, of course, we find out that it's a subcult in just one offhanded kind of remark from Bo-Katan saying, yeah, we don't all do that. It's just calm down. But I think what they've also done there, so I think we're going to be able to see a lot more of the Mandalorian without his helmet on in this next coming season, which must be great for the actor. But I think also at the same time, the power of removing that helmet and the scenes that he does just elevates that story so much. Like removing it in the Imperial mining facility because it would because he's doing it for the child, for Grogu. It's just like, oh my God, that's so powerful. Yeah. Oh, but then in the end, where he takes his when Baby Yoda puts his hand up on the helmet, and I'm like, no, you leave that helmet on, son. I don't need to see this. And
I don't need to see your tears.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, it's very dusty in here. No one look at me.
Ahsoka was just looking at me.
But
Ahsoka was just looking at me before.
But beautiful, beautiful storytelling, emotional, beautiful storytelling, where you're actually invested in it's like Farscape. Going back to the early days of Farscape, it's a show with a bunch of puppets, like literal puppets, clearly puppets, but done with such conviction and such good storytelling that by the end of the season 4, you'll cry over one of these silly puppets because they're real characters. And I think Baby Yoda was amazing from day one, but they've just kind of nailed it. Like, you care about all these characters. And I think that's the hallmark of a really, really good show, is that when anyone can kind of come in and get invested in a character, not because you're carrying any Star Wars history. If you can come in without kind of watching or being involved, in too much into Star Wars, I think you'd be hard pressed finding someone who's never heard of Star Wars. But there's certainly people out there who've never seen it, and The Mandalorian was their first introduction to Star Wars. I think it's a testament to just good storytelling, and apart from that, it looks good. It just all looks so good. And that immersive thing, the ring thing that they used for the effects, just carries on the legacy of Star Wars, the franchise, pushing the envelope of new technology. And it's a very, very good time to be a genre fan.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And just that technology that they created so that they can shoot outside, inside. They're not restricted by weather elements, location, because obviously going on location is expensive for a film set, for a film production. And to do it on a TV budget, in fact, it is such a groundbreaking piece of technology that Discovery is reportedly going to be using it in season 4. They
have it, they've got one for season 4, yeah.
Yeah, it's just coming, and it's just proliferating through the industry.
Well, think of it this way. Babylon 5, in the last season of Babylon 5, they 3D scanned, they laser scanned the sets with a foresight, knowing that they should. So there is a 3D, it'd be a bit, I assume it's fairly primitive, but there's a 3D representation of all the sets for Babylon 5.
Oh, wow.
So put that into the thing, and they did that with green screen for one of the follow-up. They did a follow-up special some years after. I can't remember what it was called, but most of that was green screen, using the sets as a green screen. But now imagine that with this technology, suddenly an episode like Trials and Tribulations becomes a much easier proposition, because you no longer have to recreate the entire set. The episode of Relics with in Star Trek Next Generation with the holodeck, they spent a very, very long time trying to find a shot of the bridge that didn't have anyone on it, and it was extraordinarily hard. And they found one, and they went, "Yep, we've got." I think 2 seconds before Kirk walks out onto the thing, so we have an actual 2-second film stock, like 2 frames of the Enterprise bridge without anyone on it, at that quality level of 35 mil or whatever they shot on, that we can overlay in the background. So you take the fan reproductions. I mean, there's some exceptionally detailed, laboriously done 3D representations of the Enterprise D, of even the Enterprise, the original Enterprise, and stuff like that. You could now put someone in that environment and have build just the middle of it, and have the rest of it kind of in the background doing kind of amazing things. I just think you can do so much with that technology. I think it is groundbreaking and a game changer particularly for genre, and I guarantee that every studio will invest in one, and they'll just become bigger and better. And I think that's kind of exciting.
Well, for 16 episodes, we've been enjoying The Mandalorian. Who knows what is to come in season 3? We've got our ideas, we've got our speculations. We're just going to have to wait and see for what Jon Favreau and hopefully Dave Filoni come up with, seeing Pedro Pascal bringing Din Djarin forward. It's just absolutely incredible. I think the best part about it has been that Star Wars, the movies, has been the Skywalker saga, and they've talked about this as well, that's the Skywalker saga. That's finished with, that's over there, that's done. Now we're moving on with other characters in this universe. And the brilliant thing with this is that over the decades, over the 40 years that we've had Star Wars on planet Earth, we've really only focused on the story of this family. There's so much else in the universe that's been in books, been in games and stuff like that. Now, in comic books, we can now dive into that in live action with all of this technology that's available to us now. Very excited for what's to come.
The fact that they're bringing Obi-Wan Kenobi back, is insane. Like, it's insane. 10 years ago, if you'd said, Star Wars will invest in a TV show starring Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi, you'd be like, they're not going to do that. Yeah. That's crazy talk. No one's going to be doing that. Yet they are. And they're getting Hayden Christensen back, which is just insanity. And it's the news that I didn't know that I needed. But I was like, I'm really, really happy about that for no good reason whatsoever. I just kind of think that's really good. And again, I think that it's actually more respectful of the actors who have played those characters. Like, if you went and recast Obi-Wan Kenobi whilst Ewan McGregor is around and perfectly able to do it, particularly at that age, it's just disrespectful. It's just rubbish. It's shortchanging people, because go out and pay him what he requires to be paid to do this, because it's, you're going to make your money. Bringing Natalie Portman back into Thor, for instance, for the same type of thing. It's like, instead of recasting that character or just replacing her, actually going out and making the effort of getting that actress back in, getting the guy who played Boba Fett. Disney Plus is doing all of that right now. So, and they've got the money, and they've got the focus to make. That's what I think Disney Plus, people kind of, when they announced it, it was like, oh, really? Another streaming service, blah, blah, blah. But I think it's actually been the best thing for us, because Disney Plus has just gone, we're not going to make money at the movies anymore. Like, we got our movies coming and stuff like that. But the coronavirus has shown that the cinema model is fragile at best. Yeah. And that as people's equipment is getting better at home, people want to consume like that. we'll still do films occasionally. Obviously, they were still doing Marvel films, but WandaVision, I think, WandaVision releases in a couple of days' time, or
last week.
So, you've got the actors from the movies, not it's not like Stargate where, which worked out fine for them. Don't get me wrong, but it did take a couple of episodes to get used to the idea that MacGyver is now Kurt Russell, and they went for a body double of Jane Spader. So, that's what they did. But yeah, it's just they're not shortchanging any of that. These are movie actors coming into these shows, and I think that's really exciting.
Well, for us in the Trekzone household as well, we can't forget that she's getting a series as well. Of course, Ahsoka, a live action series is coming. Oh look, she was sitting there all cute and listening to it, but anyway, now she's gone. I can bring the microphone back up. But that is coming. Mandalorian season 3 is coming. So much excitement to come in sci-fi. Lee Sargent, thanks for wrapping up talking sci-fi this January here on Trekzone, and we'll catch you again real soon when there's more sci-fi to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when. I think is it the end of the year that we get Book of Boba Fett?
Or yes, December. Year? No, December this year, I think it is. 12 months notice.
It's like Lord of the Rings all over again. It's like every December there's something awesome coming. So I'm very, very happy for that. So yeah. But yeah, no, thanks for having me on board.